Hey everyone, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and if you've been following along this weekend, we have been cranking out a whole bunch of Warcry stuff. So basically, I started with the Corpse Track Mausoleum, which is the Garden of More kit, which is the Sigmarite Mausoleum set, and I'm so close to being done with it that by golly, I think tonight we're going to finish it. I just have a few details left, and I said I was going to start at 6, but I got off work a little early, and so let's just go ahead and start diving in. So folks, when they are around 6, will join us, and we'll just have a good time. So let me know if you can hear and see me okay. I got some music, a few beats going on in the background. Let me know if that's all working for you. And I will start basically what I have to do left, and this is a great example of it. So I have to do the flowers and the roses kind of thing, like all the vine growths that are on these things, and then highlight each of the little skulls with a little bit of Ushabti bone. And that one will take the most time, but neither of them are terribly difficult, so yeah. Let me see here, let me grab my box. I'm just gonna pull out all the parts we need to work on tonight. And like I said, let me know if that music gets annoying, whatever. I found a cool YouTube playlist, so if it becomes more harmful than helpful, by golly, we can always turn it off. And let me start the chat going. What is everyone working on? I see Kenzie's got her last few Blood Warriors, which is awesome. Congrats. Let's see. So basically, as I complete these parts, I'm going to put them away in the box. So, Cinderfall Gaming, hello. Okay. Oh, looks like I got some more touch-ups on the stone. That's a bummer. I was kind of hoping I was further along in that, but that's quite all right. Let's see here. Jack says, Doug has never seen 101 Dalmatians. How can we trust his opinion? I have not. I was telling my friends, that my quote-unquote friends, apparently, that my first movie memory is actually Jurassic Park, of all things. Okay, that one's got to start over. Okay, I think we're pretty much well set here. Millennials. That's fun. Let me just get my rusty paint shirt here. Got a Long Island iced tea in hand. And we're ready to rock. Let's see here. So we're going to start with... I just realized I need to actually base the skulls with Xandri dust on this guy. So I'll do that real quick, so that it's dry when I come back around to do the highlights on all the other stuff here. Let's see. It's Interfall Gaming. My Dalmatian just cried. Oh no. I like them. They're cool looking dogs. Having a bit of trouble with the overbreeding, but it's whatever. Everyone's got their struggles. Let's see. Oh, Stone. Oh my god, my first game of Warcry was awesome. So excited to build more maps and warbands. Sweet. Tell me about it. What faction did you play as? Be interested. I'm glad it was a good experience. I know everyone's really excited to use the new Chaos stuff, but I feel like there's a distinct lack of battle reports online with existing army stuff. And so I hope to remedy that this weekend. I mean, I get it. The new models are incredible looking, straight up. And the fine folks over on our Discord have been really helpful with coming up with a narrative for why the Stormcasts are going to be fighting a bunch of bone splitters. Are we still on this terrain? Yes, we are. We're just finishing it up. Tonight should be the last night. There's a lot of detail in this thing, man. Especially because I don't have an airbrush. 2+ stuff. When are you planning on jamming a game in? The chat isn't in the box. Oh, you were right. That's weird. Hold on one sec. Let me figure out why that is. Very strange chat box. There we go. I was trying to get rid of some of the dead space because a lot of times it would, the text would expire before anything else. So, yep, we're still alive. Cool. Just making sure everything's working fine. When are you planning on jamming and gaming? I'm going to go this Thursday to Let's Play Cafe up in Monroe. And there's what, at least 3 guys up there that have all said, like, hey, I'm very interested in the idea of Warcry, but they wanted to hold off on any kind of buying anything until they had a chance to really play it. And I was like, that's totally cool. At the time, I thought I was getting my advanced copy. I was like, you know, let me just bring it in and we'll hang out. We'll play a couple games. So things got delayed a little bit, but they said they're still very excited to try it, especially with all the hype afterwards. And so, like, hype since it came out. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm getting all this painted up so that we have a official game experience, right? Like using the terrain cards and deployments and all that stuff straight from the box. Because some of those guys really like the competitive stuff. And so, you know, if they're going to demo a game, they want to demo it the way it was intended to be played, which is cool. But in the future, I plan on branching away from the preset terrain things. And yeah. So yeah, short answer is this Thursday. Would really love, I don't know if it'll happen this weekend or not, but to head down south and play a game with my good buddies from Rerolling Ones. Because if you haven't seen their battle report, stop what you're doing and go watch it, because they did a fantastic job. And that was Brent and Jack, who was in the chat. It's actually I've watched everyone's like first take and tutorial videos just because I think it's cool to see how different people in the community come up with ways of explaining rules, right? And I gotta say, I mean, I know I'm biased because they're my friends, but the Rerolling Ones tutorial is by far the best because, you know, on one end of the spectrum, you have like Guerrilla Miniature games where it's Ash just reading you the rule book, and for some people that really helps them understand, like having someone speak them through what's going on. That doesn't help me. And on the other end of the spectrum is something like Venomous Wargaming, who they put up their first battle report today. And they didn't really explain much. They just kind of jumped right in, which is, again, you know, some people learned by seeing it done and kind of piece the rules together in their minds. And that also does not work for me. I needed a little bit of explanation. And so the Jack and Brent style of actually like explaining the rules as they go, as they come up, as they become relevant, really, really helpful. Let's see. I bet this is the music that plays in the Necromunda Hive City, probably. Yeah, I kept having this problem where I kept getting dinged for using copyrighted music. Even the copyright-free playlist I was using, either like, you know, one of the artists would sell the song at some point and it never got updated, and so I never got in trouble for it. Like, I didn't get a copyright strike on that, but I just don't like to be even anywhere near that. So then I found out that YouTube has a whole collection of YouTube-owned stuff that you can use whenever you want, and I was like, oh yes, please. So that's what we're doing right now. We'll see if we like it. I mean, it's not like, so like basically all that copyright thing means that I can't monetize my video, which I don't make any money from live streams anyway, but it's more that I don't want to ever come too close to crossing any lines. I'm a better safe than sorry kind of guy. Let's see. I'm just reading through the comments here, trying to see what I can respond to. Cube, back later. See you. Learn, train, play. Question: do you think GW will remove the free peoples altogether? Was going to rebase all my free guild onto round bases. Someone advised against it. I would definitely wait because the free peoples book is coming up soon. That being said, we have no idea what that book's going to look like, so that's why I would, I mean, I say advise caution. I'm one of those people who, like, I personally don't have a problem when someone plays with models like that aren't for sale anymore. Like, bring out your Tomb Kings and your Bretonnia and your Greenskins. But if you're someone, like, if that does matter to you and you don't want to spend a bunch of time rebasing and then have GW say, like, no, these aren't supported anymore, these rules aren't existing anymore, I would wait. It just depends on what kind of gaming you're into. Let's see. You're on Jack. Hey, Kinsey, I'm old. How did you make my name orange like that? That is funny. Okay, so we got this. Let's see. Hi Doug, any tips on starting a campaign? I'm part of a little group from Peru and we want to start one, but don't have a clue on where to start. Love your content. Yeah, are you talking about for full AOS or are you talking about for Warcry? I only ask because that seems to be the main topic of conversation. If you're talking about full AOS, if it's your first one, I really do recommend Path of Glory. It is one of my favorite supplements they've put out. For as much as I don't like some of their supplements, like Path of Glory is just solid. It's a lot of fun. It tells you how to build up your armies, and I would say just have a conversation beforehand, read the missions beforehand, and have some conversations with your opponent. There's a few missions that are a little, we'll say cattywampus here, but a little out there that maybe you need to agree upon. For example, like there's one mission where your opponent's just trying to get to the other side of the board and you have to play defense and stop them. But if you're a Seraphon player, you can just teleport. So like that kind of stuff, right? Where it's just like, okay, we can all be reasonable people and be like, just don't use that ability. That kind of stuff. So I recommend Path to Glory for your first one, especially because it's got some cool, unique missions and it kind of just outlines it for you. So let's see. Do you think the cards that come with the mausoleum will be sold separately? I have no idea. I know they wouldn't be opposed to getting you to buy more and more of the set, so I don't know. To my knowledge, for some of the 40k kill team stuff, I don't think you can get some of those terrain cards separately. I mean, and their terrain things have even more rules than this, so I don't imagine so. Warcry feels like Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem. I was actually just introduced to Fire Emblem today by Kenzie. Looks pretty cool. Made me think hard about getting a 3DS. Let's see. Did someone say Fire Emblem? That's funny. Get a Switch. Mrs. bought me one and it's awesome. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. We actually just, I saw a Switch out in the wild because a friend had it at a dinner party and it was actually pretty cool. I'm not a gamer, you know what I mean? It's one of those things like, that's why I'm like 6 years behind on all this stuff. Let's see. Okay, then we got all these stupid fences. All right, let's do it. Let's see. Hope Steam Tank Battle Line is a real thing. That'd be legit. I hope Tank Commander is a real thing. So I can make, what's his name, like 8-Ball from Kelly's Heroes, if anyone remembers that movie. So I just got these fences. Can't wait for cities. I'm honestly happy Warcry exists, but I'd rather play AOS, similar to Warhammer Underworlds. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm more excited for Warcry than Cities of Sigmar, even though I still maintain that any book with humans is more important than a Stormcast book. Just my personal tastes. Skirmish games are the future. Says Atomic Topher. Where's all this about Cities of Sigmar? They had at the Gen Con reveal, chatted. Was it? I think it was. It was on like Saturday morning or something like that. Friday morning. I don't know what it was. It's on the Warhammer community page, but yeah, they announced the Orruk War Clans book, which is Ironjaws and Bone Splitters combined. And at the same time announced Cities of Sigmar and said that a handful of miniatures are going to go away. And the internet has never been the same since. So that's actually why I got my Ironjaws back from Jack, and I'm very excited. I'm torn. I want to see what both battle tomes look like, because Cities of Sigmar could be a lot of fun to run my Stormcast in new and unique ways. At the same time, if I'm totally honest with you, I'm more excited about the Ironjaws, or the Orruk War Clans book. Well, Orruk War Clans is just the book title. Yes, I understand that, but I'm still excited. Yeah, so it's gonna be a combined book of Iron Jaws and Bone Splitters plus a third sort of allegiance thing, which the rumor I've heard is that it's summoning. Like the third one allows you to summon more orcs because it's like a grand wall kind of thing, which even in the lore draws more orcs nearby into the fight, which sounds awesome. So we'll see. I'm dubious of summoning, if I'm honest with you. But trying to keep an open mind about it, especially because, you know, when they make it like a third wheel of an allegiance ability, it doesn't feel nearly as mandatory. Let's see. Don't forget what brought you to the dance, Doug. Flesh Eater Court's the best army in 2016. That's right. You know, when they regain their hipster status, you know, everything else becomes overpowered around them, and they're like bottom tier again. Then I will take the mantle of Flesh Eater Court. Right now, there's too much heat. I get made fun of because I don't like good armies. I like stuff that loses. Mainly finally get run in charge. That'd be amazing, and I don't think it'd be too broken on speed 5 models. I don't know, it depends on how they break up the allegiance abilities, because like smashing and bashing would be amazing for Bone Splitters. I'd love it. Stoned, are Zarbag's Gits the only Gits I have? No, I actually have a box of unopened the Squig Rider kit, the Boingot Brounders and the normal Rider dudes. So I've been so busy building the terrain and getting it all ready that actually tonight, when I'm just chilling and all this is done, is when I'm going to start cracking open those card packs and really looking at the cards. Some said War Scrolls, but they're not. So I got to figure out, because it's a multi-kit, I wanted to really hold off and figure out exactly what I wanted to build before I went into it. Because everything else I have for the other factions is already built, so my options are a little bit limited, but that's the one where I can be like, okay, what do I want? And then plan it out really smart. The good thing is with the Iron Jaws, I don't have the cards, but I actually own a variant of everything. Like all the different Ard Boys and the Brutes and that kind of stuff. So I actually am good there. So that's cool. And so now... let me see. Hipster Hammer. I played this army before, got a rule book, and after half the models got dumpstered. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, we're headed towards a day where there's very few hipster armies. Truly hipster armies. You know what I mean? We're like, it's been absolutely ravaged by time. Right now, I think one of the last little holdouts is ogres. Because technically a book wasn't announced, it was whatever Ma Tribes is and their hero. But technically not a book. Which, I don't know, must be an important distinction for GW to make. I don't understand why they wouldn't just say it, but whatever. So yeah. So I'm just flopping a bunch of Shabti bone on here. We'll do the highlights for all the skulls while the Blood Angel's red contrast is drying. Take a hit of Long Island iced tea. Boom ya. Cities of Sigmar is going to have an insane roster. I agree. Actually, this isn't the one I want to start with. It is certainly going to have a deep set of options. Which makes me think that the individual city rules are going to be kind of light. I wouldn't be surprised if they were not super, super game breaking or bending or anything like that. That they were a little on the more chill end, simply because of the amount of options you have, and the fact that you can make all those options in faction now. So, I mean, I would just hopefully set people's expectations realistically, but. City rules will be lighting and complemented by battle line if choices. That'd be cool. Honestly, I think battle line if is the most underused design function that they have in their wheelhouse. Like, there are just, I mean, can you imagine? I don't know. I just think about like Stormcast, and I know people are like, "Oh my God, Doug's whining about Stormcast." But like, for being their most, for being the poster boys, when I play them, I don't feel like I can make armies that I see in the stories very well. And that goes for a lot of factions. I just picked that one because I know the examples of like, Paladors, and I do hold this belief that if you have cavalry, there should be a way to make your cavalry battle line if. I won't back down on that. And that goes for across everything, right? I mean, I love one of the things, like, I don't really particularly care for the aesthetics of Deepkin, but I love the fact, much to the chagrin of many people, that you can do an all-eel army. And I think you can do that, someone correct me if I'm wrong, in Khorne as well, with the guys on Juggies. Juggernauts. But yeah, I love that kind of stuff. We're just like, yeah, give me, do whatever. And, maybe the Stormhost rule or like that makes that possible is really, really crap. I don't think it needs to be, but whatever. Just give me cool ways to make different armies. Brass Stampede is the Khorne Cavalry build. Yeah, so is the Brass Stampede that so you can make your Juggernauts battle line in that sense, right? So you can take just a Brass Stampede army. But yeah, I definitely think that a cavalry or battle line if you play Slaves of Darkness, that is true. If they got one thing going for them, that's it. And Chaos Knights can be pretty good in the right situation. Because sometimes you just need a guy with 3 wounds to stand there and get punched in the face. Yeah, and it has a conditional general. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I want. I'm just like, give me more ways. Give me a reason to buy more stuff. Ogres, yeah. Just missed the model wasn't resin. Oh, the Cornbro on Juggernaut. I foresee a day where in all, well, not all resin models, they're always going to use resin because of its cost efficiency, but where all of the staples of armies, you know, those units that are super important, are plastic. I think it was Sam Pearson in one of the Stormcast interviews. No, it was one of the guys doing an interview about Titanicus. That's what it was. Mentioned that they didn't know until like the last minute that the Titanicus models were going to be in plastic. He thought they were going to be in resin because he said resin, it's cheaper to do small batch runs with resin, and didn't know how popular the game was going to be until, I don't know, some like preliminary marketing and that kind of stuff revealed that, oh, people really want this, and so then they went ahead and made it in plastic. But they didn't actually know that for quite some time. Which I don't really care about Titanicus at all, but the idea of saying like, okay, so the company views resin as a cost-saving, short-term purchase measure. Like, oh, okay, that explains why they did some of this stuff like that, but not, you know. It also raises a lot more questions about other choices they made, where it's like, okay, but you knew the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth was going to be like important, so like, why'd you make him? You know, that kind of stuff. Skull Crushers weren't so freaking expensive. Yeah, that's a pricey army. It's one that interests me, though. I love anything where it's just like low model count and it has a shtick, you know? So interesting thought. Are the faction left in Cities of Sigmar what is going to be expanded? You mean like are the sub-factions left that are going to be in City of Sigmar what's going to be expanded? I have no idea. I don't know. I had a thought here on the stream, it was 2 streams ago. I was like, oh yeah, like what I would like is for them to merge Kernothian Wanderers. That could be its own thing. And then someone was very displeased with that idea and couldn't drop it for a little while. But yeah, I don't know. Still what I want. Will it happen? Who knows? But I'll be honest, I kind of want all of those little sub-factions to get the Sylvaneth treatment. Like when Sylvaneth first came out, like the Dryad kit and that kind of stuff, they existed for a long time, but what they did was just reinvigorated the lore, dropped a few new kits into it, meaning Alariel, Drycha, what else? You know, like the repurposing Drain. Basically just brought new life to it. In a very simple way, and I was like, yeah, just do that. Like, my cat's attempting to break into the room, but all he does is steal, kill, and destroy, so we're gonna leave him out. I can hear my wife yelling at him. Let's see. I really want Wanderers to come back in a big way. A lot of their range is going away. Yeah. Unfortunately, moment of silence. It's one of the armies that Shu from Rerolling Ones has, and maybe in 30 years we would have seen it. Heyo! Also, White Dwarf this month has Hishlor. I actually got mine in the mail today. They messed up my address the first round, so I had to email them and get a replacement sent. So I'm actually going to dive into that hopefully this weekend. And I've been dying to put together a lore video on Hish, so that'll be awesome. Yeah, I signed up for White Dwarf to get it sent directly to my place just because I just never think about it. You know what I mean? I just never think about getting the White Dwarf. It's like, well, you know, it's the easiest thing that people have access to, that if they wanted to like read along or like see some cool stories, boom, that's the way to do it. So I was like, yeah, we'll subscribe and make videos on it when there's something cool in there. But the first month was not off to a good start. I think GW just doesn't understand my housing address. What's your take on the Kurnothi? Me? I like the design direction of, like, you know, they kind of have that Sylvanethi vibe of like the way that the outcasts look, but it's definitely more in favor of the way like nature and autumn is kind of color scheme wise a theme. I love that stuff. I don't like the specific models that we saw. Well, actually, that's not true. I don't like 2 of like the 4 or 5 models. The centaur dude looks awesome. Like, yes, please, all of those. But if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you've seen my slew of memes that I put out that day, and everything from making fun of Mr. Tomness on the right. I don't know. It didn't grip me. Bought a whole Wanderer's army a month ago. Not sure how to feel. Well, the old adventure. I would say do not let the internet get you down. Just stay excited. You know, if you enjoy the models you got, hold on to them. Don't get rid of anything yet. And just, you know, take a deep breath and let GW show you what cool things they have in store. And I mean that. I mean, I used to play High Elves, and that faction is gone. You talk about Wanderers, that High Elves didn't make it this far. They are the gonest of gone. So I've been there. But you just, you know, here's the thing. You assume, what I'd like is for people to assume, like, okay, they have a reason for doing this, whether it's, you know, for their own health as a company or whatever. Like, there was a reason that they did this thing. And I trust, because they have a good record of giving me something to be excited about in the future. And that's why this is the anti-fear-mongering YouTube channel. GW didn't send you something? Shocked. The gasp. So what happened was, I signed up. So I ordered my contrast paints, and on the same order, I started my subscription to White Dwarf. I was waiting for it to like give me a prompt to put my address in on where to send it. But it never did. And then I realized, oh crap, it's going to send it to my GW store, because that's where I had my contrast paints delivered to. So it was actually my fault. I thought about it too late. So then I had to message them, and they sent it overnight FedEx. I was like, cool. We were told we would. GW could have just squashed all the elves and replaced them with Identitykin and the 2 future elf armies. No, I think Daughters of Cain is a great addition to the line. Because then we wouldn't have Marathi, and Marathi is a beast. And honestly, if I'm being super honest, I don't know. I don't think they knew what they wanted to do when they first started all this with AOS. I think it was a gambit, kind of a you know, what money can we make from these existing molds and that kind of thing, and like just push as far as it can go. And I obviously had a rough start, but it's in a good place now, and so I wonder how much of it is like, okay, that went, it's doing better now. Where do we go from here? And like now they have new blood in there who's doing a great job, Sam Pearson. He's my favorite, straight up. And I don't know. In Sam we trust. Are we stuck with building Warcry? Yes. And then quickly redacted. This should be the last night, though. See, the point that I made regarding Cities of Sigmar and the idea of Kurnothi and Wanderers being fused, they said, well, you know, Legions of Nagash came out, and it had all of the old Nighthaunt stuff in there. I'm trying to lose my mind here. Nighthaunt stuff in there, and then later on, the Nighthaunt book came out. And the argument, I'm not quite sure what the person's stance was, but said that that couldn't work, and I still don't understand why, but they were deeply passionate, so then I just chose to disengage. But, you know, even in that case as well, it went from being a small, moderate model line of Spirit Hosts and a Banshee into the Nighthaunt we know now. It's like, yeah, why can't that happen? There's nothing. They make the rules. They can do whatever they want. The gentleman in the negative seemed very passionate, and so I just don't squash on people's passion. So I said, okay. It's gonna be painting Warcry forever. Not at all. I don't think, well, I don't know if I'll stream it all, but I will be doing the Iron Golems and I call them the Beastie Boys, the Untamed, probably off camera, just so that people don't get burnt out seeing all the same stuff. Plus, this is my week to be excited after the disappointment, and so I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay, let me grab. Seems looking for my green here. Oh, here we go. Militarum green, perfect for doing like vines and that kind of stuff. Good attitude. Made lengthy posts about people upset about discontinued models. Do not need to be told to get over it. Instead, point them in a positive direction. You know, that's the thing. Like, nothing good comes from minimizing someone's feelings. You know what I mean? Like, you can direct them into a more positive place, or you can just be like, yeah, man, that sucks. I mean, a lot of times, you know, I get emails from people who are like, you know, I played Bretonnians. I have a massive Bretonnian army. Is you telling me there really is no way? You know, no, dude, I'm sorry. Like, you know, for competitive play, I do emphasize that you can play them But people are disappointed, and there's just nothing else to say, you know? I don't work for GW, I ain't gonna defend them. Just like, yeah, dude, I'm sorry. Sometimes it just sucks. But telling people, like, you know, get good, get over it. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna open my door so my cat stops pawing at it. Okay, sorry. So, yeah, I don't know. Creating a safe space for people to feel whatever they want to feel. This is as a content creator, and obviously as Cinderfall Gaming is a space where people talk about Age of Sigmar, that kind of stuff. Like, people are allowed to feel what they feel, and you need to be okay with that. And as long as everyone's respectful of the fact that it's okay to disagree. Because for every person who misses Tomb Kings, there's someone going, "Screw the Tomb Kings." They were dicks. Man, what is that kicking song in the background? I don't know. It's a free YouTube thing. Let me see. That would have been no copyright music, Vanilla Malurin. This is how much of a dick my cat is. He was pawing at the door for like 20 minutes, and now he didn't even walk in the room when I opened it for him. I don't want to be in there, but I want to know that I could be in there if I wanted to. But I assure you, I do not want to. I hated the Tomb Kings. You know, I never even knew him. You know, like I said numerous times, I won't dawdle on it, but it came in really late to fantasy battles, and so I was still getting a handle on my own army's lore, meaning high elves. And then things kind of got sunsetted, so I just don't have the same emotional attachment that some people do to certain things. What about the politics between these two countries? Never heard of them, bro. What about Middenheim? You mean Azurheim? To be fair, Sacrosanct don't have a star collecting box, and they were released about the same time. When Nighthaunt have no star collecting box. Yeah. There was a time not too long ago where I feel like they were really cranking out star collecting boxes, because at the same time, didn't they do like Fire Slayers, the demon boxes, like the Slanesh and Corn, all that kind of stuff, and something else really in quick succession? I was like, oh, that's awesome. I don't remember what the other ones were, but I remember distinctly thinking like, oh man, they're really going for it. And the last two we had were 40k, Rubik Marines and Space Wolves Primaris. My assumption is sometime this year we will see, or maybe like the first quarter of next year, we'll see a Gloomspite Gets box. That's my assumption. Because I think they'll probably do the thing they did with Fire Slayers, which is like you have the army, you promote the heck out of it, and then when sales kind of, tumble a little bit, just because it's been out there for a while and people are out there used to it, or maybe thinking about starting it but haven't quite pulled the trigger, then you give them an entry point. So you've already made the full price money back on kits individually, and then you can give the peasants an easy on-ramp. It's kind of funny that all those last chance to buy models sold out. Yeah, I do assume 9th age people bought them. Yeah. No, that's not true. I mean, there's a lot of folks who just collect. You know, I mean, I've met people who. There's a guy locally who has several thousand points of Space Marines. Never played a game. Never read a Black Library novel. He's like, I'm a modeler. I like the way they look, and that's it. I was like, oh. Okay, well, you are a unicorn. And that's cool. Let's see. In all my years from fantasy to second edition onward, I know exactly one person who would say it is an actual Tomb Kings player. Yeah, and I think. I don't know. It's weird how much of an echo chamber, and part of it is legit. You know, if something happens, people are mad about. You know, I mean, I'm not mad about the free people and that kind of stuff. The stuff that went on Last Chance to Buy this week. I'm not mad about that. I'm not happy that they said that they would clearly communicate it, and I don't feel like they did. You know, communicate what was going on before it happened. I don't feel like it was a very good communication. It could have been a lot better. But the point is, like, some of it's like understandable like that, and other stuff it's just like, but nobody was playing that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's always that guy who has the 10,000 points of Tomb Kings, but like, the problem is that guy is never going to buy any more Tomb Kings because he has everything. Must have been lucky our gaming group had a diverse army selection. Oh, really? That's cool. That's so good to hear. I mean, I feel like in our local area when I was playing fantasy battles, I was only high elf player, and they were glad to have me for that reason. But everything else around here was Warriors of Chaos, which apparently were very good. I don't really know. But I know there was a lot of those and Dark Elves. Let's see. I just realized my friend used 2 wrong bases, so now I'm missing 2 25s for Untamed Beasts. Oh, bummer. That's the worst. I put my chromatic cogs on the wrong base when I built that kit because they had the instructions wrong, and I was like, ah. Oh. I was cursing the wind. Okay. Oh, weird. It says chat disconnected. Am I still live? Huh. Well, it says I'm still streaming. Yeah, looks like I am. Live. That's weird. Okay, well, it must just be like the chat in my streaming thing. I pulled it up in another window so we can chat. Someone go ahead and type something out just to make sure it's still going. Bum, bum, bum. I'll make sure that's working before I go any further. Type something. Okay, cool. No, it seems to be working. Must just be my broadcasting software or whatever. Cool. Thanks for the streams. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm excited to get all this hobby progress done. You kidding me? It'd be so boring to sit here in silence or play Total War games with Jack. Let's see. Oh, heading out for the night. Good night, Oathstone. Have a wonderful evening. Be here. I'm trying to think of what I have to do after this. After this, I really think I just have to go touch up some of the stone, like the actual gray itself. On some of the bits and bobs, like on the mausoleum bits, got a little messy. I think we're pretty much done, which is really exciting. Thanks, Contrast Paint on Flowers. Bored with Total War games with Jack? Try Fire Emblem. Oh, I really do enjoy. I love hanging out with Jack online. It's one of those things, I'm just not, whenever I'm at my computer desk, I never think to play a computer game. I always would prefer to have like a podcast going, or like YouTube or something like that. I don't know why. For some reason, I really like gaming when I'm on my couch in the living room, but not so much in this chair. I probably legitimately should buy a better computer chair. I bet you my productivity would skyrocket if I wasn't uncomfortable all the time. Doug, how'd you go from making 3 videos a week to 9? Well, lumbar support. Because the gaming industry is on a downward trend. If Todd Howard sold cars, he would be in prison. I will say that I bought Fallout 76 and I played it for about a month, but it just didn't have enough to keep me interested. Or anyone else, apparently. I don't know. But I mean, I like some of the concepts in it. I don't know. The biggest thing for me, and this goes for all video games no matter what, the most important thing in a video game for me is the fact that I can put it down whenever I want. You know, if I need to get house chores done or whatever like that, like, I don't like games where, like Call of Duty, where you're like, this match goes for 20 minutes, and like, for those 20 minutes I'm unavailable. Nah, like, that's why I like Fallout and Skyrim. You know, I could be mid sword to the face and pause Skyrim and pause it and go walk away. Like, I like that. So right now, because I'm stuck in the past, I've been playing Prey. And PS4, and it has been a lot of fun. But I go through waves, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, sometimes I'll play for like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with this game for like a day or two, and then I'm just like, go back. Switch has soft turn off and power saver. Ooh, that's neat. Big reason why Pokemon is great. Yeah. Pokemon is great. I love it. Unironically. Let's see. For how much I love FE. Oh, Fire Emblem. I don't watch any of the Fire Emblem temples. Yeah, that's fine. Not, I mean, for me, like, channel presentation to me is more important than anything else. So, like, you know, even if it's something that I'm very interested in, if I can't find a channel that I like their, you know, their voice and the way they present things and edit, I'm like, I just won't engage with that content creator at all. New. Got just a little bit left here. I don't even know what you guys are talking about with the national decks and that kind of stuff. I mean, I assume it's a Pokemon thing, but that whole IP has just evolved so far beyond me. Last time I played, I think I played Diamond, I think. I don't know. Maybe? No, it was on the Game Boy Color, so whatever the... Yeah. It's been a bit. Remember Gen 3? I'll be doing Pokemon stuff on YouTube when the new games came out. No, it's fine. You can talk about Pokemon as long as you want, my friend. Okay, so what do we got? There were a few skulls. I need to get with Skeleton Horde, so this. This. I'm gonna lie, I had the idea for a Keratin-based Team Rocket. That sounds rad. I'd be all about that. There it is. Just looking because some of these had random skulls jammed into the flowers. Okay. I think we got almost all of them, so that's good. Let me ask you this. Every time they put out a generation, so like a new game, is there entirely new Pokemon? Because, like, I don't want to brag, but I know my original 151 pretty well. Yes. Okay. Well then, I'm only like 1,000 Pokemon behind. That's okay. New region and new Pokemon. Oh, okay. Want to buy a Pokemon-based war game? That would be amazing. I would play the crap out of that. Another hit. Get this. I could have swore I pulled out the gray that I need. I need Dawnstone. Okay, this sounds a bit much. Here we go. Every once in a while I go like full old lady. I'm just like, that's quite enough of that. Let's see. Give me 1 second, Daniel. I'll answer your question here. There it is. Okay. Sorry. Daniel says, how did you paint your stonework? So the actual stones here, I actually haven't painted them really yet. So it's just a gray primer from Army Painter. And so I'm going to go back over it. So yeah, so the stones on this thing I haven't painted yet. On the other ones, you can see here, it is that same gray primer. And I went in and just really quickly with a wash, went through all the creases with Nulnile just to make the shadows really deep. And did a really light dry brush with Ulthuan Gray. And that's all it is. Just picks up the edges of the rocks, and it's as simple as can be. It had to be simple because everyone's already complaining about how long I spent painting this stuff. You got an idea. Let's find a different music playlist. Happy music, pop music, bright music. Okay. Ooh, inspiration mode. There we go. That's more my tempo, not the not the speed party. Okay. Is there any video you might have done or are planning to do with symbols using AOS, the moon, twin tail comet? I have not planned to do anything, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. The only thing is, a lot of those things, there's just not a ton of explanation for. Which is a real bummer. Like, you know, with the twin tail comet, like that imagery has been around since the old world, but like, I can't think of a specific place where they really mentioned in AOS, like, yeah, this is why we like the twin-tailed comet. Other than like, Sigmar digs it. I'm like, okay, cool. And we like what he likes because he saved us. I also know that the Twin Tail Comet was an omen in the old world. But again, like, that doesn't necessarily translate to this one. So I'm crazy about that stuff. Go for it. Want to research it? Go for it. Yeah, I do think it's interesting. Like, actually, one of the more interesting battle tomes for that kind of stuff is actually Bone Splitters, because they really do give you like almost a full alphabet, and I like that. It's not an alphabet per se, but it's just word images for how they would describe something. You can actually like understand if you were to find a cave that Bone Splitters had been in. You could actually probably understand what happened there, right? Between who the combatants are, what happened, who won. I think that kind of stuff's cool. Which actually, I'm always thinking about ways, you know, if I ever, you know, settle down with an army, how I would do like a board, right? A board to take with me to local events, and I think that would be a really cool one where it's just like. Maybe like a cave painting wall where the Bone Splitters are like carving out how the last couple battles went. I think that'd be kind of fun. I like that the bad moon has a satellite moon. It's hinted at being the AOS incarnation of Scarsneck. Yes. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff. I know some folks are not super pumped about the constant harkening back to the old world and would prefer we just stick to new stuff. But it's like, man, but that's OG. That's where it came from. You gotta. It's okay to, like, you know, show some love. I don't want every character to come back. I mean, that's kind of where I guess, draw my line, but I'm saying that you should cut all ties, technically, I don't know. Technically, they're the same world still. Nostalgia sells, it's true. It is true. It's why they would be foolish not to come back with a Tomb Kings remastered for AOS, because now people have built up this whole like, oh man, I thought I wanted this thing. Now I gotta go buy it. Let's see. The old world was important, so I just don't see why it shouldn't be referenced. AOS is retcon. AOS isn't a retconning of the past. Yep, I agree. It's just the future. And generally, I like You know, I really like the subtle nods. Like the Scar Snake thing, rather than like overt, like, this is this guy, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, you can read Soul Wars and never know who Balthazar Gelt is, and you would still enjoy it. But for those who know, you know, right? And there's nothing else to that. You just know. And that's it. If you read any of the Black Library stuff featuring Sigmar, you'll see how the destruction of the old world informs his desires. Yeah, he basically has the whole... He is to the old world what like Batman is to his parents, just constantly thinking about it, brooding over it. It's like... You want to see a grief counselor? Now. Oh, okay. Cool. Speaking of that, was Nagash referring to Balthus? Was he used to be mine or whatever? I don't necessarily think... Well, so Balthus died. Balthazar Guild died, so maybe he was referring to the fact that Sigmar pulled the dead man's soul out of Shyish. Is kind of my working assumption. Because that's kind of the shtick of the Anvils of Heldenham or whatever they are. They were all dead. I see like 40K's War in Heaven, an important part of the history of the setting, but also something that should be dimly remembered. Yeah, I agree. The more you shine a light on a thing, like, you know, it's okay for things to be mysterious is kind of what I'm trying to say. Just like, you might think that you want all the information on X, but actually you don't, because then it takes away a lot of the fun and the mystery and all that stuff. J.K. Rowling's teaching us that lesson when it comes to Harry Potter. You don't want to know anything else about this world. Just enjoy the books and don't ask questions. Can't understand the Eldar or Necrons or even Orcs without the War in Heaven, but you'll never know the true extent of it. Yeah, totally. I love the idea that there's entire galaxy-spanning species that all it really is, if you think about it and step back, is just the fallout of somebody else's fight. You're just like, ugh. Got some blue spill right there. That's a bummer. Let's see. Primarch Gilliman, terrain amazing. Got myself a pretty battle tome I'm gonna gander at. Sweet. What battle tome did you get? Always curious as what people find exciting. I love asking like why people pick up factions, even if it's like, you know, to win. You know, I mean, that's fine. I still find that interesting. Warcry is going to be great. My wife's looking at playing. Sweet. That's awesome. I'm going to try and get Jess in on it just because it is so simple, straightforward. Very understandable, very achievable game, you know, that kind of stuff. Orruks. Nice. What kind of orcs are you a fan of, Primarch Gilman, sir? I'm actually a fan of both, but for different reasons. Honestly, I think so I actually reached out to Jack to get the Iron Jaws back, specifically because I can't bring my Stormcast to the Nova event, because Jack's playing in the doubles event for the competitive stuff, and we can't both play Stormcast, like in the team event that we're doing the day before. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm already not bringing what I was going to bring. That's fine. You know, I'm happy, really happy that I figured that out before I got there. And I was like, okay, so what can I play? And then they announced the Orruk book, and I was like, okay, well, that's pretty obvious. And he was so cool about giving me back my Orruks, or let me buy him back from him. And yeah, I'm just pumped. So I have both. I have some bone splitters, not a whole lot, to be honest with you. Just I have 30 more boys, a couple big stabbas, and a few low-level heroes. But then for Iron Jaws, I almost have an entire army, so I'm pretty well set there. Well, mortal in fluff, a dead Xeno's a good Xeno. Mighty Dad Hammer versus Wife Hammer. That's awesome. I know when we do, like, we learn games with friends at parties and whatnot, the biggest thing for Jess and I is that learning a new rule set can be very overwhelming. And so, like, just trying to find ways to minimize any kind of stress and mental taxing, that kind of stuff. That's why we used to play X-Wing, and I never beat her in X-Wing. But our two house rules for X-Wing was that she always has to have a glass of wine in her hand, and the second was that whenever a ship blows up, we have to make the sounds for it. You know, that kind of stuff. And we had great fun. Sounds to me you're not really playing. Yep. I made the sound effects once at a local game event, and the gentleman on the other side was not impressed and would not reciprocate. I was like, what are we doing here? That's why if you ever see me on rerolling ones, I love the sound effects. If you ever see me on rerolling ones, every time one of my models dies or someone gets shot off the board, I'm like, brr! just someone like mid-order getting punked. Looking forward to X-Wing 40K. That's funny. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it. You know, I am to that game as my friends, our medical group, are to Warcry, which is just like, sure, if someone buys it, I'll play it. You know, but I have minimal at best interest in it at all. But there are a few folks who I know, because it's like a remake, right, of like an old classic. I think Forge World had it before. And I'm interested that they're doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, I was listening to Blackjack Legacy is a great YouTube channel you should go check out. But I was listening to him talk today about the idea that these kind of like self-contained box games are kind of like GW's model for the future, and I'm like, oh, I'm down with that. That's his thought anyway, but yeah. I'll try to fighter play a game when they get Tyranid living jets. Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun. What is the size comparison between... because I don't know hardly any of the vehicles in 40K. Like the size comparison between... is it the Harpy, the Tyranid flyer in the game? That's kind of like a jet. And like a jet, like the ones you see... in specifically the ones that they showed. They're about the same size, right? Because I thought one of those was like an Orc Bomba or whatever like that. Those are the same size on the tabletop, relatively. Honestly, I'd be really happy, and this is a thought that would shared amongst me and I know Brent from Rolling Ones, where it's just like, I'd love it if GW became an expansion company. By that I mean, you know, you set up Warcry, you set up Kill Team and all this and like that, and then the future releases is like, you know, every 2 to 3 years you can expect to get a cool new book with a few models with it and a bunch of smaller games that we can expand upon. And so there's a lot of tendrils out there all getting a little bit of support over time, so it's not so overwhelming all the time. That honestly would kind of be my dream. But I know not everyone agrees with that. Some people like the breakneck pace, and I'm just like, I can't keep up with all this. As patron saint of the channel, Danny Glover would say, I'm getting too old for this. Living Saint in Aeronautica Imperialis. Yeah, just have Saint Celestine just flying around smacking people with a sword. Come here and let me hit you with my sword. That's funny. New Space Marine Codex has me interested in 40K. Custom chapter rules. Oh, that's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I'm very excited for my buddy Ben, who does Salamanders. I mentioned him the last time, which he's pumped, which is awesome. I love when people are, like, you know, excited and engaged and ready for changes. You know, me, I still have my Death Guard on the shelf. I'll get around to them eventually. Probably I'll focus on that kind of stuff after Nova. And after my Warcry high burns out. Yeah. But yeah, I am going to start doing 40K stuff for sure. People voted on it. Working on my Stormcast. Are the Warcry rules any good? Well, you know what? I'm almost done with this, and we can sit down and we can review them here. We can chat about it. I don't actually know. I've heard that Gryph-hounds are amazing. And that's all I know right now. I've heard Drifthounds are amazing, and mixed feelings on the long strikes. Cool. So, fun fact for doing stonework, if you're interested in, I like to do Ulthuan Grey as like the higher light, but for bonus points, if you take a little bit of Fenrisian Grey and dry brush that and do it in circles, just in random patches, that a little bit of color actually goes a long way to making stuff look really, really cool. So I'll show you. Basically what it does is just kind of tints some of the stones different colors, makes them pop. Let's see how well that shows up. I don't know how well it shows up for the camera for you, but it's looking good here. Let's see, have you had a chance to look at the anthology yet? No, I haven't, and I want to. I'm actually really regretting signing up to read Plague Garden simply because now I want to read that anthology so bad, because there's not much like lore for the individual factions for Warcry in the book, which kind of took me by surprise. So instead, now I'm like, oh man, now I wish I had done that so that I could. I'm going to actually. I'm gonna dive into the Warcry lore because people are just dying for it. I'm very excited. I'm excited that they're excited. So, yeah. But Alan, that's a great suggestion. Both guys set a date for Plague Garden. Hit the books. You are correct. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Just doing the last little bits of details, picking out the higher thing where more light would catch up here. I'll do the same on this one. Let's see. Okay, so now comes for the most important step that I hate. You ready for this? It's when you slowly examine each piece to make sure you didn't miss anything, because I know that I did. So let's do that real quick. Oh, close the lid on my paints. Okay. This one looks good. All the plants are on there. Okay. Do the little parts next. Okay. This skull just needs a quick highlight. This is called the post screw up phase. That's what you're doing, you're fixing it. Okay. do one more slight pass of a highlight with some of the Ushabti bone on some of these bases, but other than that, things are looking good. Looking spot on. I love the different color of the rooftops. Make them pop. Yeah, that's the whole idea. The idea is basically before I do in the intro to every battle report, I'm going to do like a table spin so you can see where things are. So having the different colored roofs will allow you to be like, okay, like, you know, kind of orientate yourself. No, I'm pretty sure it's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Going through, picking up the little spots where the contrast didn't quite settle. Making sure I didn't miss anything, but actually we did pretty good. It helps that most of the things are pretty consistent. Again, are you thinking of doing a commission painting while at college? You certainly can. Even if you just use it for hobby money, to be honest with you. That's what I did. I was in school when I first started this kind of stuff, and basically what I would do, because I couldn't afford to buy models and that kind of stuff, you know, I'd show up to game night with painted stuff, and people were like, "Oh man, would you paint my stuff?" And I'd say, "Okay." And then I'd point at the wall at a model that I wanted, and I'd say, "Buy me that, and I'll paint your thing." And just do a one-to-one trade. Buy me a thing, I'll paint you a thing. Buy me a thing, I'll paint you a thing. And that's how I got practice, and that's how I got my first army, which of course was Sigmar from War Machine. Sorry. I'm struggling to get through painting my small Stormcast army. Metal and cloth are not my expertise. That's unfortunate. That's all those things are. I'm just kidding with you. What's giving you trouble? We can help. We're friendly people. Is it just getting the everything looks smooth, or like do you like different layers? Like what's giving you grief? I'm not a painting expert, by the way. Far from it. I just share it when I do it, but it doesn't mean I'm proficient. That one. Good. We need to do the candle lights on these two. This guy. Okay, I found a few more things I can improve. Let's see. Sweep that. Let's see. So far it's pretty nice, bro. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're just hopefully wrapping up. I don't want to be at it for too much longer. I find terrain is easy to kind of bog you down, right? I mean, it's easy to get caught up in like all the little details, and kind of stuff. But thank you, I appreciate it. Oh, I saw a skull that needed to be highlighted. Oh, here we go. That's why the most important part, if you want to do like the faster, quick and dirty kind of painting like I typically do, most important part is going back over at the end and just doing that one final sweep of like, what did I mess up? It's always something stupid and small. So the last thing I see here is that I have to wash this big bronze cross thing. And I have to do the yellow lighting on the candles in here, but that's not a problem. So let's get the wash. We'll make it nice and dark here. Mostly having trouble settling on a paint job that isn't like the official chambers. I tried white armor and various blues as a secondary, which is not vibrant enough for my tastes. I get that. Are there any chamber armors that you do kind of like that you can modify? Like my Celestial Vindicators are a modification of the actual studio scheme. So like I went a little bit brighter than they do to make mine more vibrant, and I went with white cloth rather than the maroon or whatever they have the actual scheme do. Because the nice thing about doing that is then you can look at their tutorials and basically like shift it ever so slightly to what you need it to do. You know, so if you wanted like off-white, then you can just look at the official white scheme and then just kind of do something just a hair different. Okay, so we have the yellow. Purple and gold always look super good. Yeah, like purple and gold and purple and white always look great. Makes you look rich and fancy. White and teal, that's what I went for. Okay, we just clear a brush. Anything goes with white. Went with gold and white with a little bright blue, so it looks like the hammer of Sigmar, but a lot brighter. That's cool sounding. Look at that, I told you, you always miss a part. Just use my sports team colors for theory. Yeah. That'll definitely work. Let the people who have spent ungodly amounts of money in researching color patterns and that kind of stuff, let them decide for you. What brand of paint brushes do y'all use? I'm just starting to get back in the hobby. For fancy things, I use the Citadel brushes just because I don't think about it when I'm not like at a GW store. But most of the brushes I use are like dirt cheap, a buck for 12 at my local hobby store. Okay, so these things are now done. That's awesome. So the only things I need to do is I'm going to grab my dry brush. I'm going to do just a light highlight of silver just in some of the parts of the fences. Won't take hardly any time at all. Just to kind of make them stand out a little bit. Just because they kind of match the gray a little bit. Silver is just sparkle gray. Changed my mind. Finished my last Blood Warrior. Oh, that's awesome. Be sure to throw it up on Discord. Love to see it. That's an achievement. Oh yeah, that looks much better. A little bit of a Stormhost silver pop. I'm sure if I deeply cared, at some point I can go back and like put a wash on all of the fencing, you know, these little metal bits, but honestly, they look great. Great enough to do demo games with. Silver is metallic gray and gold is metallic yellow. Right on. I know nothing about color theory and all that stuff. It blows my mind when people like those real painters that GW has in their wheelhouse just like drop knowledge on me. I'm like, what? I think there's one more thing I said I wanted to do before I was done. Oh yeah, on the ridges of these fences I wanted to do one more dry brush of a shop debone, that's right. And then I just gotta do the iron parts on those with a wash and stuff, and I'm done. I feel like every time I say like I'm almost there, I just have 2 things left to do, I find 2 more things to do doing those things. Let's see. In Cities of Sigmar, is there news of High Elves going to be in it, or who knows? I need to pull the High Elves out again. I have no idea. I know most of their line is going away. It's on last chance to buy right now, so I don't know what I don't know what the future holds, honestly. This is the brace for change kind of moment. There's going to be rumors online, but I don't know. Listen to them at your own discretion. Might try purple and gold with white helmet, shoulder pads, possibly white cloth bits. That's cool. Hey, you. Yeah, Phoenix Temple's still around, my understanding. Only Phoenix Temple and Shadow Warriors made it. hoping for Stormcast high elf action, but I guess they can be run as order overall. Yeah. Yeah, the nice thing is Stormcast will be fully supported in the Cities of Sigmar book, so I'm hoping to basically steal one of the city's rules and play it as Vindicarum, which is the main city for the Celestial Vindicators. It's kind of my thought. You don't ally in all Stormcasts. It's part of the roster. Yes, it is. Yeah, which is why that book is going to be sufficiently massive. I also know some cities can take Sylvaneth, at least. And I don't know if one of them was Fire Slayers, but yeah, you can take all kinds of cool stuff. So enough Fire Slayers and KO have been mentioned. Okay, well thank you for that. That's awesome. Competitive lists are going to be interesting when you give some of these top players that much of a pool of models to work with. Yeah, I hope. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. By we'll see, I mean, I have no doubt that there's going to be some crazy combination that GW never thought of. Because that just tends to be how it goes. It don't always be like that, but generally it do. And then you get your flood of YouTubers who are like, oh, how could they possibly have missed this obscure combination? Oh my goodness, kind of live show from an Aussie patron, Doug. Oh, hey, man. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah, I'm going to be hanging out here for the next 20 minutes or so. 20 minutes, half hour. So we're this sucker I'm calling done. And so all that's left is this little guy, who is ready for a wash. Let's see. Hugh, Doug, who are the leaders of Realm of Fire and Metal? You mean like who are the gods that embody those things? They don't really, realms don't really have leaders per se. But the ones that embody them, Grimnir was fire, Fire-E, and Grogny was tied to the Realm of Metal, Jamon, which of course it just popped up now that Kinsey offered that. But I mean, yeah, like so you'll have gods who embody the spirit of a realm, but they're not like sole authority on there. The closest we come is that Alariel had a big hand in shaping the way Ghiran looks, but that's not necessarily that she like is the sole authority there. I mean, certainly since Nurgle kicked his way in, she's not the sole authority. Okay, let me grab that Ushabti bone. I'm just going to go over and do some extreme highlights. Kit bashing options will be really nice for free guild, like a whole ranger looking army from Realm of Life. Yeah, I think that kind of stuff. Once the lore for places is really well defined, I think we're going to start to see some really cool, unique Age of Sigmar-y, specifically like free guild stuff. And I'm excited for that moment. Because right now it's a whole lot of like Germans in space, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff, so. Which is cool. It's a cool aesthetic for its time, for sure, but we can do better. Let's see, I wanted to make my Seraphon the typical jungle overgrown bases. Now I'm thinking that I want to give them a narrative enemy to decorate the model and bases. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, man. Being from fighting Nurgle makes perfect sense for them. Okay. Seraphon versus Bone Splitters that want to kill their giant dinosaurs. I would watch that fight. It mentions it in their battle tome, how they hate the Seraphon because they keep wanting to catch the beast, but every time they kill one, it vanishes. This is frustrating. Cornic, if you're interested, actually what they say is that every realm has every biome, and what that means is there are frozen tundras in Akshi. They might be like a mix of snow and ash or whatever like that. You know, kind of always be fire themed, but you know, in one of the opening books for, well, one of the first Black Library books, period, actually has snow falling in Akshi, which is a really cool thing. So yeah, there's fiery volcanoes in Ghiran, all that kind of stuff. So it makes it really, really cool. The idea was they made this infinite playground for us. That depends on the are they just memories thing. Well, I mean, whether or not they're memories, they do definitely disappear when they're killed. That much was confirmed, but because they, regardless of how they're made, they are still light. That opens up so much possibility. Yeah, dude. So just make what you think looks cool, and you can be from anywhere. That's why, like, you know, people are like, oh, I'm from Akshi, and they have these, like, the typical magma bases. I'm like, that's really cool. Show me something else, you know? Explore it. I like to see that kind of stuff. Mogwai, man, I totally agree. I think that the setting took some time to develop and explain to us, and also just to get their writing staff on the same page. But now that I think we're in full steam with the lore, I think it's man, I think it's just fantastic. Barking dog outside. I hate my neighbors and their dogs. They're terrible. They don't. Very poorly trained. See, actually, jungle thick overgrowth with little veins of cracked earth revealing bits of magma. That's cool. Like a jungle grew itself like on top of the ash heap. That sounds awesome. Alright guys, old metal Eldar model or Sister Superior to paint next? Oh dude, Sister Superior. Linus, my neighbors have a neighbor with a rooster. That also sounds unfun. Yeah, y'all do it. I'd kill it. Not really, I'm not mean, but sometimes I am. Okay. I wish that GW fixed the 40k lore a little bit more. She's going to be painted white, but I primed her black. Oh no. That's okay. Silister Gray is your friend. Silister Gray is all. Okay, what is left now? Ah, here we go. Always looking for paints. One day I do want to do a metal jungle. That sounds so cool. So what I just did now is I thinned out a little bit of Caribou Crimson. Let me make this bird a little more interesting up here. Add just a hair of warmth to his color. There we go. And that same very faint color to the weapon and the eyes over here. Yeah. And actually, it's not the fire; it's the humidity. I like that. It's a dry heat. Shut up. It's 200 degrees. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if there's a way to back this up, but I picture a Slan setting up and using their magic to like bring the ideal environment from the old world to the more realms. Well, here's the thing: is like the Seraphon lore is in super weird place right now, so you can do whatever you want, my friend. That sounds awesome. I say go for it. He is his own Garden of Eden creation kit from Fallout, if you're familiar with that. Okay. See you later, Hugh. Have a good night. Friends, I think we're done. I think we did it. I mean, there's still this little tiny little part. Like, basically the only thing left to do is the little twin-tailed comet symbol inside this specific gate thing. But everything else is finished. This one came out really, really well. All the bases are ready to match the actual terrain. It's like the actual game mat. I think I showed that off last time, but I'll show you again. So basically I painted them with that dusty sand color because they match this thing almost perfectly. So we did it. This just in. We did it. Yes, we did do it. So yeah, it blends right in. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that was, let me try to think of how much time. I think I did the entire thing start to finish in about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours, something like that. So that is exciting as all get out. Most of it was done live on stream. And if you're curious how to do candles, something that I have fallen in love with lately is I just painted the candles white and then took Nasdrag Yellow, the contrast paint, and just boop, and just booped the top of the candle, and as it settles itself down and makes a cool little glowing effect. So there's a pro tip for you. Pro, emphasis on air quotes there for the pro part. But yeah. But you know, there's things that can be improved upon. I'm sure I can go back and do like a second layer of highlights on the skulls with like Screaming Skull, but honestly they look great. You know, and on the video, of course, like I said before, when you're doing terrain, I think the most important thing is to make sure that the terrain looks good, but it doesn't steal focus from the models. That should always be like the number one thing, is that the models look great. Terrain is just backdrop. So yeah, when I do these boards, I'll likely try to set it up so that the two blue ones, because they're very different kinds of buildings, are on opposite ends, so you have some sense of like, you know, where north is basically. I'll try it on my sister's base. I'll try a Shop T-Bone or Screaming Skull. Yeah. It totally works. So what I will do is I'll actually hop off. I'm going to take a whole bunch of pictures in my photo booth, hopefully tonight, but maybe I'll get to it tomorrow. And do a whole bunch of pictures of that kind of stuff. And yeah, show off the terrain that we built. And I'm going to say we all did it together. You'd be surprised how much more I get done when I'm just sitting here chatting. Because it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm more focused. But yeah, so we have you know what? Of course, after all that praise, I found one more thing I want to do. I forgot I had these two buildings on the side. That's cool. It'll take half a second. I just gotta cover up one little part because some of the gray got messed up. But yeah, I missed coming to these streams. I didn't do one for a little while. Just took a little bit of a little hiatus. No real reason. Actually, that's not true. I was really down in the dumps after my Warcry didn't come, so I was a little upset and just needed a break to recalibrate and recenter myself. Oh, now there's baby outside. Babies and dogs everywhere. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I got about 20 minutes before I gotta hop off, so I'll go ahead and just do my last little touch-ups while I still have everyone's attention stolen. So yeah, this is exciting. So now I can actually like stop this evening and look at the actual cards for my faction, so that when I do my demo stuff on Thursday, I can know what I'm talking about and have a good sense of what the armies do as I'm trying to teach other people. That's the hardest thing for me. It's trying to teach the game while learning it at the same time. Not easy to do. Is this typical stream time for you? Yeah, if I do a stream after work, like during the weekday, it is typically around now. Haven't had a chance to the last time, but I like to stream also on Fridays about maybe like 11 or so my time, because I can catch all the folks in Europe at a more reasonable hour. Because who would have guessed a game company in Nottingham would have fans that live around them? But yeah, if I'm going to come home from work, starting around about 2 hours ago I started. That's about my normal stream time, which is 6 my time. If I was better at YouTube, I'd come up with a real schedule. Oh wait, did I miss any of the... Yeah, there we go. (8:30 a.m. and breakfast with Doug). Now here's the only thing I don't like about this kit, is that the tops of all these little spires, it's these little tiny nubs, and they snap to the side like this one already did. It's like nothing's been on this. I don't know how it snapped, but it just did. Did you get the Warcry starter set to mix with your mausoleum? I did, but you know what? I was about to crack it open and just dive in, but then I realized, well, I already have 2 painted warbands, and this set goes together much faster than the actual Warcry starter set. So I was like, why don't I just crank this out, make that happen. And plus, you know, all the YouTube stuff that you're seeing right now is always people playing the actual Warcry sets. Like, let's just skip it. We can do something unique, have some great looking buildings. And this weekend I hope to record my first narrative battle report. And it's going to be like with the voiceovers and the, I don't know, probably about 20 minutes long action scenes and special effects and all that kind of stuff. I got some really cool ideas planned out for it, and I hope that y'all will join me when I present it next week, hopefully. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Thank you all so much for joining me. It really does help me crank all this stuff out. And now we can say that we done did it. So, look forward to seeing this on Facebook and Instagram with pictures and that kind of stuff. And obviously in the next battle report that I do. So thank you all so much, and I will catch you next time.